Welcome everyone. Let's talk about the decisive chapter, literature review chapter. Um, we have to start with the text synthesis or information synthesis. I always emphasize in the previous discussion that paraphrasing and summarizing it's not text synthesis. You need to go back and listen to the text synthesis video and practice text synthesis or information synthesis. This is a very important skill which will make your life very easy as a student or in your journey for your towards your masters or doctoral student. So make sure that you master text synthesis and start practicing it because it's actually very important for you to do so. Then the other most important thing that you need to do is make sure that you have got your referencing tool. We don't encourage plagiarism. We encourage students to go in cite, quote, and acknowledge the work that other students or other publishers have done. So we don't encourage you to plagiarize, to steal work from other scholars. Do the right thing. You need to cite. You need to acknowledge the work that you are writing in your book. I don't want to encourage you to use the paraphrasing or the summarizing tools. I know most students they make mistake going there. Take these tools, use them, and to make matters worse, they use these tools at the end of their thesis. When they have written their thesis, they've finished written their thesis, then they come and they throw everything on the paraphrasing. And I can tell you the end product is disaster because the paraphrasing tools they just reshuffle your words and so that it appears because it's running away from plagiarism. So it's not a good tool to use, especially when you're finished writing your thesis. And what is literature review? Literature review is the survey. It's very important to take note that when you're doing your literature review, you are doing another survey, you are doing another research. That is why I call it a decisive. It's very important for you to understand that you are also looking for what we expect you at the end of the chapter to tell us what you have found in literature review. So, and it also provides a current knowledge, allowing you to identify relevant theories, methods, and gaps in the existing literature that you can later apply to your thesis or your dissertation topic. Um, and the common mistakes that students make, the first common mistake that most students make, is insufficient quotes and sources. Most students, especially who are studying on part time, they don't have time to read because during the day they are working, at night they've got families and they don't have much time to read. And the challenge is when they are writing quotation, their literature review, they just read 2 books, 3 books, 4 books, then they just started to write a literature review. And I can tell you, if you use that approach, the end result will be disastrous. So, what I recommend you to do, if you're a master's student, you need to have at least 400 direct quotes. And from the 400 direct quotes, you need to quote maximum of 4 quotes from one scholar. You can paraphrase, you can summarize, you can take direct quotes, but at least make sure that you don't exceed 4 quotes from each source. Then for PhD, about 1,000 direct quotes, which is an average of 250 articles, books, or publications, if you want to say. So it's quite reasonable. 250. It's quite reasonable, although you for a PhD we might want you to more. Yeah. So make sure that before you write your literature review, you attempt your literature review, you have at least 400 direct quotes for masters and the 100,000, 1,000 direct quotes for thesis. Then another mistake, insufficient understanding of the topic under consideration. Most students, they don't understand the topic, and especially if a student has taken a topic from a module or from a field that he is not much familiarized with. And you want to do literature review, and most of that, if you don't have a good understanding of that topic from from the subject perspective or from a module perspective, then you might find it very challenging for you to go ahead with your literature review. Long breaks during the reading and writing session and phrases. We have seen most students, they write one paragraph today, then they wait after 2 weeks or after a month, they come back and write another page and go away. That will provide, or that will provide room for inconsistency in your literature review. You need to avoid that. You need to make sure that when you're doing your literature review, you try to do literature review. If it's a heading, try to write from start to end without taking too much break. One day it's fine, 2 days it's okay, but you can't take a break for more than a week, because the next time you come back, one, you would have forgotten what you've been writing, you would have also forgotten your argument, so you are starting afresh, and it's actually very dangerous. At the end of the day, you end up having you might end up having no argument to give. Then the last part is a clear line of argument, failing to structure a clear and logical argument. You need to make sure that whenever you are writing, you have got a clear argument that you are advancing. Your story must be, someone must be able to follow your story. And please take note, we are writing this for our reviewers. We want the reviewers to be able to follow our story. Literature review gives you an opportunity or a chance to demonstrate your familiarity with the topic. That's and its scholarly context. Don't forget that we need that. You can't jump this section. I know it's when we are writing a qualitative and quantitative, we have different approaches to literature review. As I have said, when you are doing quantitative, you need to start doing literature review. But when you are doing qualitative, you end with literature review. So it's very important for you to know where you're coming from, what the approaches that you can use when you're also doing the literature review. Develop a theoretical framework and a methodology for your research. Yes, two things. You need a theoretical framework, you need a research methodology. So literature review is also a very good opportunity for you to identify those two important elements for your study. Literature review give you an opportunity to position your work within the literature review, within the work of other researchers and other theorists. Show how your research addresses a gap or contribute to the debate. So we need to see where you are going to contribute, and the literature review gives you that opportunity for you to demonstrate to us. Evaluate the current state of research and demonstrate your knowledge of scholarly debates around your topic. 5 key steps to writing a literature review. There are 5 key steps that you need to follow. That's very simple. The first thing is search for relevant literature. This is the most important step in literature review, and most scholars, they overlook this part. They think that identifying literature does not matter, but I tell you, this is the most hectic part, the most thing that you need to exercise, and especially when you are writing literature review, don't just jump in and write. You need to go to Google Scholar, JCETA, wherever search engine, wherever libraries that you have, and make sure that you identify the literature, relevant literature, before you start the process of evaluating. We need you to identify relevant literature, especially in all the areas that you think it's key to your study. Go out there and gather the relevant information. Then the second part is you evaluate the sources. Third, identify themes, debate, and gaps. And if you want to be smart these days, you can use the machine learning. You can use different tools to identify these themes. So easy. Then we go to outline the structure. Then you write your literature review. I will explain these in the coming slides. So evaluating the source. So what are you doing there? So we are saying each time when you are reading, when you get a publication, each time when you get a book, you are reading a book, you need to ask yourself some questions. What problem is the author solving? What are the key concepts and how they address them? What are the key theories, models, and method? Does the research use established framework or take an innovative approach? What are the results and conclusion of the study? How does the publication lead to other literature in the field? Does it confirm, add to, or challenge the established knowledge? It's very important for you to take note. The scholars that normally challenge the established knowledge are the people that are seeking to position their study within the original contribution of study. What are the strength, weakness of the study? And make sure, this is very important, you read credible sources. If a source does not have the author, there is no author, I recommend that you just throw away that source away, even if it has got the most important information. Don't use that source. Then identifying themes, debate, and gaps. Yes, it's also very important to make sure that you identify the gaps, you identify the themes, the debates, and all other stuff. So to begin organizing your literature review argument structure, be sure that you understand the connection and relationship between sources you have based on your reading and notes. You can look for trends and pattern, that is a theory, method, and results to certain approach become more or less popular over time. If you check some of the terms on the internet, you discover that this term has been so popular from this year to that year, and it declined, and that pattern, you can actually see that pattern. So also with use of theories, there is a time the theories become more popular and when they are less popular. So you also need to find out that themes, what questions, concepts recur across the literature, debates, conflict, and contradiction, where do the sources agree and where do they disagree, and the pivotal publications. These are very important because you need to, they are in most disciplines, they are always pivotal sources, some sources that you need to make sure that you put your hands to, and they are kind of influential, and they can change the direction of your study. It's very important to take note of that, and if you get in touch with that source, you need to make sure that you use it wisely. Then gaps, what is missing from the literature? What are the weaknesses that needs to be addressed? This step will help you work out the structure of your literature review, show how your researcher will contribute to the existing knowledge. This is very important. We need to make sure that we contribute to the knowledge, to the existing knowledge. So yes, let's talk about the outlining your study. There are various approaches that you can use when you are structuring your literature review. It's very important for you to know. The first one is the chronological, whereby you look at the topic over time, and you write from a historical perspective. But however, if you choose this strategy, be careful to avoid simply listing and summarizing sources in order. Try to analyze pattern, turning point, and key debates that have shaped the direction of the field. Give your interpretation of how and why certain development occurred. Then the thematic approach, whereby you identify themes. This one, I said, you can make use of artificial intelligence and machine learning to identify these topics. There's so many tools out there that you can make use of. Then from there, if you identify themes, you can just write from the themes, put the themes and write and argue. Then the methodological. If you draw your sources from different discipline, different fields that uses a variety of research method, you can actually compare the result, the conclusion that emerge from different approaches. It's actually very good, especially for those who are doing PhDs, to make use of studies from different fields. Also studies that are using different methodology, you can also compare from there. And then we can talk of theoretical. Yes, you need to also see how theoretical framework, how scholars have used the theoretical framework in their argument and in their studies. Then writing a literature review. Then the next thing is to write the literature review. Make sure that you write your introduction and your board, then the conclusion. It's very important for you to follow. Literature review is very important, and you need to make sure that you write your literature review, and go out there, read more about writing literature review. It's very important for you to make sure that you write a sound literature review. Thank you.